All right, you still with me? All right. Thank you so much for giving me your time. If you need a break, you can take a break, but I'm having a lot of fun here. Thank you so much for having the talk with me. I think it's super valuable, and I appreciate you giving me your energy, giving me your attention. This next thing, I'm not exactly sure how to tackle it, but it's one of my favorite things to talk about. Okay, so let's just dive right in, right? Face first, head first. Not face first, head first. I want to talk about your future self. Right? Your future self. Now, people think they think of the future as being like it's not real. And by one definition and one way of looking at it, of course, it's not real. It's not real yet. It's not there yet. But in another sense, it's very real, right? We're multidimensional creatures, right? We exist in 3 dimensions of space, 1 of time, and we move through time. And we know there's a past and there's a present, and we can project that there will be a future. But the future is an expanded version of now. The future is just an elaborated and expanded version of whatever is now. Your future doesn't exist in physical reality. It exists in a dimension I call potentiality. I'm not the only one who calls it this. A lot of people call it this. I didn't come up with the word potentiality, but potentiality is a dimension where all things exist potentially, right? Before anything that you see existed, look around you. Everything that you see before it existed here and now, it existed potentially. And someone had an experience, and someone was inspired, and someone reorganized the world in such a way that these components are here in this order. And now we have this expanded version of what was the world plus this new formulation, this new idea, this new structure, this new pattern. All right. So I want you to think of your future self as not being real. I don't want you to think about the future of humankind as not being real. I want you to think of it as being real, quasi-real, existing potentially, right? And I don't want you to poo-poo that. Existing potentially is good. It's very good. It's something to get excited about. Because if it exists potentially, then all that needs to exist is for our behavior to change, for us to access this dimension of potentiality and to become the nexus of change and to... I'm getting into my motivational speaker self here, okay? And I promised myself I wouldn't do that, okay? I didn't promise that at all. We tap into the dimension of potentiality in order to create what is, and we can do that for humankind. We can do that for people. We can do that for our environment. We can imagine a future that is, and we can shape it with the power of our attention. That is who we are. We as creators, our job, our privilege really is to tap into the dimension of potentiality and to bring it into physical reality. And we do that with our will. We do that with our body, with our actions, with our creativity, with our friends and family, and the people we live with other human beings. Our future self. I think that's the idea that we need in order to start getting excited about the future. Talking about the future in terms of possibilities. So, happy for a change. I want to shed the light of our attention on great ideas. Absolutely. That is the absolute focus. But I also want to shine the light of our attention on what is possible, on possibilities, possible futures, ways that we could live. Look, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be living in some techno future with VR and AR and mixed reality. I don't know if we're going to be downloading our consciousness into computer machines that allow us to live in virtual worlds. I don't know if we're going to eschew technology and live in nature frolicking without clothes on. I don't know if we're going to create organic computers that are brains in a jar and not use silicone, but use biomatter and carbon in order to do our computing. I don't know if aliens exist and they're going to come and give us some other multi-dimensional phasic technology, and everything that I say doesn't even matter. I'm pretty sure that last one won't happen, but it could happen potentially. But I hope there are no aliens. I'm getting sidetracked here. What I'm really talking about is your future self and potentiality. Look, when you go on vacation or something, right? And you pack your bags the day before or wherever, and you put it by the door. And then you wake up in the future and you look at your bags already packed by the door. You say, oh, well, thank you so much, past me. Thank you so much for doing that work, for taking that effort, because now in my future, which is the present, I get to enjoy this thing. And sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't want to do it, I'm going to put it off. But if you start thinking, hey, I'm doing this for myself in the future, and you can connect to the future, you can feel it, it's more tangible, it's more real. You don't consider the future, you don't consider that potential reality as being nothing. You consider it to be as substantial as your current reality, as connected to your now as now. Then you start doing the things that are required in order to improve your future. And so we need a vision for humanity that inspires us, that makes us feel anticipation, looking ahead, right? So that we behave today in a way that will help tomorrow. Potentiality is an important concept, I think, that we should start talking about. It's a great idea, at least according to me. When you have any experience, you launch into your future reality, into this field of potentiality, an enhanced version of yourself. And you create the opportunity for you to move towards it. And your desire is calling you towards becoming that which you have created yourself to be. And if you don't get in your own way with doubt or hatred or grudges or pain or whatever the heck you're going through, if you allow yourself to focus on that more clearly, then you'll move in that direction. You'll be drawn to that direction. Humanity will be drawn in that direction. Look, right now, I feel like it's being drawn in another direction, okay? There's a ton of bad news. Now, I know there's a ton of great news out there. I know we're living in the best time that we've ever had. But man, there's some bad things happening, right? I mean, there are really bad things happening. And when I give that my attention, I feel down, I feel disempowered, I feel lethargic, I feel apathetic, I feel disconnected. And it doesn't matter how true those bad things are. Just even hearing and thinking about them shuts me down. I don't know about you, but that's how I feel. But if there can be a place online where I can be exposed to ideas that are not only great, that are not only uplifting, that paint a vision of the future that is optimistic and exciting, a future worth living, and provides me an opportunity in some small way to help make that happen, I want to live in that world. I wish I could take that laugh back. It was just kind of a weird laugh. Anyway. Our future self. What is our future going to be like? I don't know what it's going to be like, but I do know that it needs the competition of ideas. We need ideas to compete and to come up and to go back and forth for us to refine our vision for the future and determine what we might like. We need to have that experience. And we're living in a time right now where we could do it easily. Keeps me up at night thinking about the future and what we could be experiencing right now, right today. All it takes is an imagination. Imagination is your in-between world. It is the tool that you use within your mind to connect to potentiality. And in your imagination, you can use that in order to draw into physical reality, that which we want. And if you can't imagine it, other people are imagining it. And they just need a little bit of your attention in order to bring that into reality. All that sounded a little more esoteric than I wanted it to. It seems very practical to me to imagine the future and to use all of our energy to focus on it to bring it about and to not let things distract us if we can avoid it. And the more of us there are together focusing in that direction, the more we can all be distracted because people are carrying the load. It's like being in a choir where a lot of people can't sing. I've been in a choir where people couldn't sing, and there's just something about being in a choir where there's a lot of other people singing where everybody sounds fine, they sound good. I mean, there's always that one person who's kind of off, but still on the whole, it sounds pretty good. And if a lot of people focus on direction, the world can be muddy and disgusting. The world can be corrupt. The world can be imperfect. The world can be just the way it is right now. But with enough people, we can cut through all that with small actions over time to create great change. It's our job, I think. Not job, because I'm not born to do that, but it's our privilege as creators to shape our future. And I want to create a future. I want a future with far more ideas than exist today. I want a future that is filled with excitement and pleasure and purpose, happiness. I think you want that future too. I mean, gosh, it's the only reason I'm doing any of this is because I think there are a lot of people like me. Trying to be the Pied Piper. Trying to sing my tune and bring everybody together. And while I do that, I want to find ways to talk to you so that you can feel better about your life, that you can feel more hopeful, that you can feel more connected to the future self that you've created yourself to be.